The only things that are certain in life are death, taxes, and hearing about the only certain things in life. Even in cartoons, where characters can take an anvil to the skull and brush it off, some characters do have mortal moments. If you're somebody who liked watching cartoons as a kid, you've probably come face to face with some characters being killed off. It might have even been your first experience with death. Some of these are tastefully done, and others are completely shocking and startlingly brutal. My name is Tim, and today on Channel Frederator, we're counting down our top 10 most brutal deaths in cartoons you watched as a kid. And yes, that does mean we are excluding cartoons you were much more likely to watch as an adult. Let's get started. Number 10, Steven Universe dies in Steven and the Stevens. One of the immutable rules of cartoons. If there's an episode that involves clones, then it involves the original fighting his clones. It's as certain as the law of gravity and Scooby-Doo remakes. Steven Universe's clone episode takes this one step further, with the original Steven that we follow not only dying, but killing himself to save himself? So here's the setup. Steven creates a bunch of versions of himself by traveling back in time, and these copies of himself do the same thing. Once it gets out of hand, Steven realizes he has to destroy all the copies, and the only way to do that is to remove his own time-traveling ability. Doing this destroys every instance of Steven that exists after he gets his time travel powers, including the version we followed for the whole episode. And not only does he vanish, he crumbles to dust screaming. It's intensely disturbing. And then we wrap it up with a lovely song on the beach. Clone Death honorable mention goes to Gravity Falls and Paper Jam Dipper. Number 9, Abe from Bobby's World. Remember when Howie Mandel starred in a cartoon series that he created himself? Bobby's the youngest child of the Generic family, spelled generic. That's really their last name. And Bobby has his very first school test, which is a lot of pressure to put on a kid so early. Bobby gets nervous that he's going to fail and his life will be permanently ruined. Before he falls completely into despair, he gets some helpful advice from Abe the Crossing Guard that helps him learn his shapes and find worth in something other than his test grades. Shortly after giving Bobby a pep talk and song, Abe passes away, and the adults waste no time explaining to Bobby that his friend is never coming back.
Abe's my friend! I don't want him to be gone!
This isn't brutal in the sense that it's gory, but it's really hard to watch Bobby come to terms with the fact that his friend and mentor is never coming back. Number 8, Shan Yu from Mulan. The evil leader of the Huns, Shan Yu, manages to survive the full force of an avalanche, so anything that manages to take him out must be something pretty spectacular. And boy does he go out with a bang. No, seriously, he's blown up in a fireworks display. This is shown tastefully off screen, so you don't see anything particularly horrifying, but this one has something a little more special to it. Disney held a parade at one point that featured Mulan characters. The Shan Yu float depicts him tied to the rocket that would end his life, and the most horrified expression on his face. Nothing says fun parade like displaying the body of your fallen foe in the seconds leading up to his demise. Number 7, the air conditioner from the Brave Little Toaster. Do you know what goes on in this cottage? I know what goes on in this cottage. It's a child's first encounter with grief and destruction. The air conditioner is not the nicest appliance in the Brave Little Toaster. Where everyone else has hope and nice things to say, the air conditioner is quick to dash everyone's plans and provide insults. The appliances have enough and call him jealous since his master couldn't play with him. And he completely loses it.
It's my function!
He flips out, screams, turns red, destroys the surrounding wall before finally overloading. It's a really upsetting scene, especially as a kid. You realize that the air conditioner has been in a lot of pain and it finally got to him. And then when the emotional tension is really straining, Kirby helpfully offers,
well, he was a jerk anyway.
The least you could do is pretend to feel something. Number 6, Frollo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Judge Frollo is easily one of the creepiest villains in the entire Disney filmography, partially because it's easy to see the real person underneath that inspired the character. The things he does are legitimately chilling, and no matter how far he goes, he always claims he's doing it for the forces of good. But you can never hide what you've done from the eyes of Notre Dame. In the final parts of the movie, Frollo manages to get the better of Esmeralda and Quasi. Before striking the final blow, he cries, "And he shall smite the wicked and plunge them into the fiery pit." And then the gargoyle he's standing on breaks. But before it manages to fall completely off, It growls at Frollo in a way that seems to say, I know where you're going, and it isn't heaven. It's shocking to see a Disney movie not only have a character die by falling into an inferno, but also so strongly imply divine intervention. Number 5, Saluk from Aladdin 3, The King of Thieves. Greed can often lead to trouble, but never did kids get a more startling example than Saluk, the villain of Aladdin 3, The King of Thieves. In the movie, everyone is trying to obtain the Hand of Midas, which can turn anything into solid gold. While the heroes are just regular greedy, Saluk is much more vicious. He's willing to kidnap, fight, and even kill to get what he wants. Eventually, he threatens to slice Aladdin up with his super cool claws if they don't surrender the hand. Aladdin's dear old dad, spoilers, Aladdin has a deadbeat dad, decides the best course of action is to murder Saluk via trickery. He tosses the hand, and Saluk catches it by the gold part. Aladdin stares in horror as his assailant is turned into a golden statue, capturing his last moments of agony for all eternity. It makes me wonder, why on earth does Aladdin pick up the hand again? Does he not just see what it did to this guy? Number 4, Ursula from The Little Mermaid. The cunning sea witch gets a lot farther into her plans than most villains. She has the whole sea bowing down to her authority and turns the king into one of those really ugly anemone things? If only she knew to stay out of traffic. While trying to destroy Prince Eric and Ariel, she creates a whirlpool that brings a bunch of derelict ships to the surface. Eric decides he deserves more screen time and manages to get onto one of these ships and steer it into a collision course with Ursula. She's too busy cackling to notice when she gets completely impaled. It's shocking because as a kid, you might not even realize what just happened, but once you get older, you begin to realize how brutal this is. Look at the expression of pain in her eyes. Number 3, Clayton from Tarzan. There's basically nothing redeeming about Clayton. His evilness is neither completely rational to the point you can understand it, nor is it so evil that it's actually funny. He's the polar opposite to how I feel about Gaston. I never wanted something bad to happen to a fictional character as much as I did Clayton, and I got my wish. Clayton fights Tarzan with his machete, and it's pretty visceral looking. Still, Tarzan is able to get Clayton tangled up in vines using his superior agility and rugged good looks. Clayton, undeterred, continues to slash, eventually cutting a vine holding him up. He drops, but before he can fall to his death, like most Disney villains, his fall is broken by a vine around his neck. Not even a charming Phil Collins number could lighten the mood. Number 2, Rasputin from Anastasia. Anastasia looks a lot like typical Disney princesses, but she isn't a Disney creation, and her story is a lot more hardcore. Anastasia is one of the last surviving Romanovs, and spends a lot of the movie trying to prove that fact and not get killed for it. Side note, while massive chunks of the story were changed and cut in order to make the movie more exciting, Anastasia Romanov was a very real person. Unfortunately, even if the real Rasputin wasn't a sorcerer, the real Anastasia would die at a very young age. The cartoon Anastasia would survive, confront Grigory Rasputin, and kill him harder than any cartoon princess has ever killed anyone. Upon breaking his magic vial of evil, demons descend on Rasputin and completely melt him down to a skeleton, which convulses until it crumbles to dust. If you were looking to just enjoy a fun movie, this scene was completely out of left field and probably scarred you for life. And number 1 is literally all of Watership Down. To be perfectly clear, Watership Down was a novel before it was a cartoon and never tried to hide its more shocking moments. That said, it's not hard to imagine a world where an absent-minded parent might think, this has cute animals, I bet my kids will love it. Did you think that Bambi's mother's death was harsh and uncompromising? Here's a film that shows a bunch of rabbits forced into brutal fights for their lives and doesn't try to sugarcoat it. The fights in this movie aren't overly gory, but they do portray a very real sense of fights between animals. We typically think of animation as a way to explore things that can't happen in the real world, but this is using animation to explore something we'd really rather not see in the real world. That said, if you saw this as a kid, it probably changed you forever.
That was our list of the top 10 brutal cartoon deaths here at Channel Federator. If you like this video, be sure to check out some of our others here on the channel. We have a list of top 10 cartoon fights, as well as the top 10 cartoon weapons. Also remember that we have a phone number here that you can call, leave us a voicemail, and tell us what you would like to see covered here next at Channel Federator. We might even feature your voicemail on an upcoming episode, so be sure to give us a call at 917-408-3733. And remember, Federator loves you.